Hello and welcome back to A Seat at the Table. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today we are going to make something absolutely delicious. You're going to love it, your friends, your family, your co-workers. Today we are going to make focaccia bread. It's a very simple recipe. It may take a little time, but the reward at the end is well worth it. Stay tuned. For this recipe you need 1 envelope of active dry yeast, 2 teaspoons of honey, 5 cups of all-purpose flour, 5 teaspoons of sea salt, 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, plus a little for the pan, sea salt, diced garlic, and any seasoning that you'd like as a topping. Today, I chose red pepper flakes and Italian seasoning. 2½ cups of lukewarm water. We're going to get a large bowl and a whisk. And then we're going to pour our 2½ cups of lukewarm water inside the bowl. And then we are going to add the yeast. Once the yeast is added to the water, go ahead and stir until dissolved. Next, add in your honey, and you're going to whisk that for about a minute. Now, your yeast is going to start really activating. It will become milky or even start to bubble. If you notice that there is no reaction from the yeast, then you probably have a packet of dead yeast. Go ahead and just get a new packet, no big deal. Now, once that yeast is fully incorporated, it'll look something like this. Wonderful. Now we're going to add in our 5 cups of all-purpose flour. Once this is added in, go ahead and begin to stir immediately. And add in your salt. If your dough is extremely stiff, go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of water and mix again. Next, we're going to get a clean bowl and we're going to put in our 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You're going to notice that this recipe seems as if it has a lot of olive oil. Trust me, you need all of it. Don't try to cut the corners, you need all of that. Now we're going to pour our dough inside the bowl with the olive oil. Once your dough is sitting comfortably inside the bowl, you're going to go ahead and knead it just a tiny bit. As you can see, we're not doing much kneading at all. You're really just going to get the dough covered with the olive oil, and then you're going to leave it alone. Next, we're going to go ahead and cover this bowl with cling wrap, and we're going to allow it to proof for 3 to 4 hours at room temperature. If by chance you can't do that, go ahead and do it in your refrigerator for 7 to 8 hours. This bad boy doubles in size, so make sure that your bowl is covered really good with that cling wrap. Here we go. It has been 4 hours and our dough has doubled in size. Crazy, right? Next, let's go ahead and get our baking pan, and we're going to take that butter and we are going to generously, and I do mean generously, put butter on that pan. Don't be scared of the butter. It's unsalted butter. Make sure you get it in all the corners, all the crevices. You got to get that butter in there. All right, back to our baby. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take the cover off, and we're going to take 2 forks, and we're going to knead just a little. What you're trying to do now is you're trying to knock out as many of those bubbles that have formed due to the yeast as much as possible. Just do it a few times and leave it alone. You're not going to need it for a long time. You see, I literally did it maybe 3 or 4 times, and bam, that's it. And then you're going to pour your dough inside the pan and try to get as much of that olive oil in the same pan. Go ahead and use your fingertips to press down this dough. Try to get it as much in the corners as you possibly can, making sure that it's even throughout the entire dough. Now, at this point, this dough can be a little springy, so it's fine because we're going to let this dough rest. Okay, so get it as best as you can, and we're going to set it aside for about an hour and 15 minutes. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I told you it was a lot of oil. And we're going to drizzle it on the top of the dough, spread it around a little bit. At this point, we're going to take our butter, and then we're going to add in our diced garlic. Pretty much what you're trying to do is infuse that garlic taste into the butter. I typically don't even do this, but I decided that I would do it this time around, just to see what happens. Once you get your garlic inside that butter, you're just going to cook that for just a few minutes. Really probably just 2 or 3 minutes. That's about it. And it should be perfect. It should be ready to go. You can use fresh garlic. I used already diced garlic. It just was easier. Our dough is ready. Woo! It's ready finally. It's been about an hour, 15 minutes, and our dough is perfectly primed and ready. Our first step is we're going to take about a tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to drizzle it over the top. Yes, I know you're thinking that's a lot of oil, but trust me, you need it. Even put a little in your hands, rub it around. You want to make sure that the dough does not stick to your hands. It shouldn't at this point. We're going to take our fingertips and we're just pressing the dough. We're making these little divots, these little indentations inside the dough, and we need this for the dough to cook properly. Okay, at this point, you're going to go ahead and you're going to add whatever seasonings you want to season your dough with. I love red pepper flakes and I love Italian seasoning. So that is what I'm doing. I'm sprinkling all of those ingredients on top of my dough. You can put vegetables on there, whatever you like, that's what you do. Bruh, it's the pools of oil and the seasoning for me. Next, let's take a little sea salt and we're going to put just a tad bit of it over top of the dough. This will add a little kick of flavor. This will go in the oven at 450 for 25 to 30 minutes. And voila, look at that. I had to do a little dance, y'all. It looks beautiful and it's perfectly cooked. At this point, I'm adding my garlic butter. You're just going to drizzle it over the top. Take all those chunks of diced garlic, get it all in there, get it all in there. You need it. It just is another layer of flavor. When I tell you that my house smells outstanding right now, like the aroma is unbelievable. And do you see how perfectly cooked that bread is? Oh my God, I'm telling you, you gotta try this recipe. You must try it. You're going to love it. Now, as if there wasn't already enough oil, I'm going to add a little butter to a piece, and I'm going to taste it. I've made this recipe several times, and each time it's simple, it's easy, and it's delicious, man. Oh my God. Now, yo, I'm gonna take some of this to work to my coworkers, and I'm sure that they'll appreciate that. But it is really, really, really delicious. Forget about it. It's crazy good, y'all. You gotta try it. Do you see the crust? Do you see the crust? Huh? Man, look, it was so good. I do a little dance. But listen, if you have not already liked or subscribed, please go ahead and hit those buttons right now. Go ahead and comment. Questions you have, hey, shoot them to me. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. You are absolutely amazing. And please have an outstanding day.